Hello, 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 and welcome. It always seems to take a little bit of setup to be able to start streaming. So thank you for your patience. And I'm just really glad that you are here with me right now. And I'm going to play a little of my fun song that I love. And it's so much part of what I really believe in. Anyway, I am here with you today to dance a little, have a little fun. Anyway, I am here with you today to talk a little bit about high converting opt-ins and why would you be interested in creating a high converting opt-in, and what are the things that you need, the required for them, and what they are, that kind of thing. So when a little bit ago, when I asked people to kind of give me a little sense of what it is that they wanted me to do some trainings on, this was basically the top that came up. And so it seems like people really wanted to learn about high converting opt-ins. And so I want to make sure that I do that. So I'm trying to pull my notes because now they're hidden between all of these screens. Anyway, so thanks for your patience. And so if you pop in, let me just do a few little notes here. I'm doing this live. So so if you pop in and just come by and say hi, and I'd love to see you, and please enter your questions that you have about high converting opt-ins, and any kind of insights that you're getting, like what are you getting from this. So what is an opt-in? So I'm going to start from the very beginning. I'm sorry I'm a little late as well, so I'm going to go till, it's 1:50, I'm going to go till 1:45. And I apologize that I'm a little late, I'm trying to get all the technology to work. So anyhow, so what is an opt-in? So I'm going to start from the beginning. So some of you are going to be like, oh my gosh, I already know this. And then I'll go a little bit towards, then what it is that you need to do. So what is an opt-in? An opt-in is basically a page that you create on a website. You will do this on either your website or usually ClickFunnels or lead pages or any other service that allows you to just create basically a one-page landing page, which is like where you would send people to claim something. So you probably are very familiar with this because you have seen it probably a lot on Facebook if you're on Facebook. So why would you want to create an opt-in page? So why you would want to create an opt-in page is if you want to generate leads for your business, if you want to grow your list, your email list, if you want to launch a book, launch a course, launch a challenge or a telesummit, if you want to invite people to something, or if you want to promote some kind of resource that you have created for people. So usually opt-ins are free resources that you provide for people in exchange for them giving you their email address. Now, I want to make something clear. I am happy to share a little bit of the ins and outs of creating an opt-in page. And I also want to make really clear that I do not believe that you need to have an opt-in or a whole funnel in order for you to be successful in your business. And so I really want you to hear this loud and clear. So if you are starting your business This is not something that you absolutely need in order to start your business. You could totally start and run your business without an opt-in, without a web page, and that this is something that you would use if you are interested in beginning to collect email addresses, so that you can then start nurturing those email addresses, which is like the people that have given you their email address. You can start giving them valuable content and nurturing the relationship with them, so that eventually, potentially, they might decide to purchase a product or a program from you. So it is a way for them to get to know you and for you to provide deeper value. So I'm gonna kind of go really succinctly, and if you pop in and I see your questions, feel free. I will try to answer them. If you don't and you watch, if you're watching this as a recording, if you're watching this after the fact, you can still send me your questions and I'm happy to answer them. You can send those to Elena at intuitivebusinessmastery.com, and or you can come onto our group at Luminous Conscious Entrepreneurs, and you can post them on the thread, and then I'll be sure to answer them. So so again, it is not something that you need, and it is a very, very simple way of you being able to give value and to begin to have engagement with your potential customers that will make it a really easy transition with you and them. So I want to divide this little thing into 3 different segments. The first is I'm going to talk about Optin Page. Second, I'm going to talk about the actual download, what it is that you create on that download. And then third, I'm going to talk about what we call the thank you page, or whatever that page is that they are going to be directed to after they enter their email address. So if you have not, if you have never created an Optin page, what you will need is either, can opt-ins be created on WordPress? They can, and often you might need a plugin, or they might look kind of clunky or not very pretty. Now, again, they don't necessarily need to be super pretty, and yet there seems to be sort of this standard opt-in page, which is just one big landing page, or a page that has maybe 2 sections. Usually the shorter the opt-in page, the better. So what you will need is either somebody that is very good at coding, if you're actually going to do it in your website, or a service like ClickFunnels or Lead Pages. And if you don't know who they are and you want to have some links to them, just put on the chat, and I'm happy to send you some. I'm happy to send you some affiliate links for you to do that. So first of all, if you are going to be, you're going to be doing this because you want to be collecting names and emails of people that you want to be then developing and nurturing a relationship with. And so then you want to be able to connect this to a system that would be able to capture those emails. So while ClickFunnels allows you to do that, they may not have the capability for you to be able to then continue to nurture that list. They may. So you might want to consider using another system that you would then connect to either Lead Pages or ClickFunnels. And that would be anything like MailChimp or Constant Contact, or anything like that. I personally suggest, I have used so many different systems throughout my business life, and I am so in love with Simplero. They are so easy to work with. They are very affordable for beginning businesses, and allows you to kind of scale the level of support and bells and whistles that you get as you grow your business. And it is a very integrated system that allows you to do so many things in just one system. And so I am a huge fan of it, and I will be happy to give you and pop in my affiliate link for them, because I am just such a fan of them. Not because I'm necessarily getting a commission. I am in love with their system, which is really odd to say. Anyhow, so then you will need to have at least a way for you to create 2 different landing pages. So one would be the opt-in page, the other one would be the thank you page. And then you will need to have a system that will be able to capture those email addresses. That is normally called client relationship management system, or a CRM. And that you will then be able to continue to send information and nurture that relationship. Okay, so let's go to the first part of it, which is the opt-in page. So what do you need to create a really good opt-in page? And so I created a little acronym to make it easy for you. And the acronym is CABS, with 2 S's, CABS, C-A-B-S-S. So the first part of this, C, is it needs to be clear and compelling. So clear and compelling. Usually videos tend to do very, very well, because you allow your potential customers to begin to get a sense of you and to begin to create a relationship with them. And they kind of get to know you a little bit. You can tell them a little bit about your opt-in, and then they might be really excited. Now, the issue, sometimes when you are sending this to cold traffic, which is something that you might do via maybe a Facebook ad, sometimes people don't like to sit and watch very long videos, and so you want to make sure that it is also clear, compelling, and succinct if you're going to do a video. But you could just have a clear and compelling print, so that the copy that you are putting on your opt-in page is very clear and compelling. Okay. Number 2, it's A, which means above the fold. So all the important information, including the yes, sign me up, or, yes, I want this resource, or, I'm in, or whatever it is that you put in that button, needs to be above the fold. So when I first started this, I was like, what the hell is the fold? So if you first get to a web page and you see that very first line that you see before you have to scroll down, that's basically considered the fold. The moment that you scroll down, like have to scroll up, then that's below the fold. So you want to make sure that all the important information that you want them to get is gonna be above the fold, partly because you might only capture their information for a really short period of time, and then they'll start scrolling. And so they'll click out. And so if the important information that they need to know in order for them to know if they want to opt in or not is not above the fold, then they might not scroll down to find out any more information, and then you might have lost them forever. Okay, so clear and compelling, above the fold. Number 3, it's B, and it's for benefits. So you need to have clear benefits articulated in your copy. So what is it that they are going to get in this particular download? What is the benefit that they are going to receive? So don't tell them, and this is a mistake that I have made, and it's a mistake that I see many, many coaches, mentors, and trainers doing, is that we like to focus on the features. You're going to get this 40-page book. You're going to get 5 audio tapes. You're going to get, they don't care. So don't focus on the features, only focus on the benefits. How are they going to benefit from downloading this particular resource that you are giving them? How is their life going to be different? How is their business going to be different? How is their mindset going to be different? Right? So articulate those benefits really, really clearly. Okay, number 4. The first S is that they need to solve a problem. So the more compelling they're going to be is if they solve a problem. So the idea behind this is that if you can identify a particular problem that they have, and then you can give them a free resource that is going to solve that problem, then you initially are going to begin to create this great trust and rapport with them, because you are telling them this is how you're going to benefit, and then you're going to give it to them, and then they're going to create that benefit, and then they're going to be like, wow, if this is what I get from this free download, then I want to know how I could work further with this person or what else I can learn from it. Okay, so that's the first S. And then the second S is so solving a problem. And then the second S, CABS, is simpler. The simpler, the better. I think that a lot of times we try to make them, I have tried to make them super, super fancy. And I've made that mistake. And I've learned that the fancier it is, the less likely people opt in. That sometimes the uglier and the simpler it is, the higher the opt-in rate it is. And so make it really, really simple. Okay, so that was on the first part of it for the opt-in page. So it's CABS, clear and compelling, above the fold, benefits clearly articulated, solving a problem, the simpler the better. Okay, so the number 2. So we are now moving to the actual download. What is it that you are going to create to give to them? Okay, so and the little acronym I created for you is PETTY. So the download needs to be PETTY. So P. P stands for problem, and again, it must solve a problem. And I'm taking the time to repeat this because a lot of times we are very enamored with something that we love, and then we create that as an opt-in, and then we realize that's not really solving a problem, and people don't really care about it. And so it must solve a problem, and this is true for an opt-in as it will be true for a program or a business that you will be creating. And so for those of you that are at the beginning stages of your business, you really need to be thinking about this piece. Okay, number 2, the E is for easily consumable. Okay, and this is something that this is a mistake that I've made a lot, and there's probably going to be some controversy around this, and so I'd be really curious to hear about some of your different opinions. But the idea is that it is easily consumable. So among the highest ranking opt-ins that are easily consumable are checklists, blueprints, infographics, and worksheets. And why is that? Is because we want to create something that is actually going to solve a problem, but that it's very easy to consume. So there are other harder to consume downloads. So if you create an ebook or a webinar or a course, even some of the telesummits and the challenges could be more on the harder end. And as long as you have made it really compelling and you have clearly articulated the benefits and what was expected, then you might have a really, really high opt-in rate. Do you see what I'm saying? Now, where we end up falling through the cracks for most of us is that most of the time people do not consume what they download. And do you have one of those file folders like I do where you're like, oh, that's a really cool thing, I'm going to download it? Go to the file folder. And then when do you go to the file folder to check on that resource? Maybe once in a blue moon. Anyhow, so the idea is that we get really enamored for having a particular resource, but we don't always consume it. And so you have to expect that your clients are not consuming it right away. And so you need to make sure that whatever you are giving, it is providing, and this is, I'm going into number 3, T, it goes for T, giving tangible or actionable content. So whatever you're providing, it's going to be tangible or actionable content that it's really going to help them in creating a transformation. And in some ways, you also need to assume that the easier it is to consume, the more likely it is that they will consume it. So if you really want your potential clients to consume what you are creating, then make it a really super easy thing, a checklist, a blueprint, an infographic, a worksheet. Because when that is so easy, then they're going to be more likely to want to consume it and go through it. And then number 4, and I could go on and we can add a whole bunch of stuff to it, but I want to keep it simple. Number 4 stands for I, and it's make it interactive. So this is kind of a little deeper dive recommendation, but if you can take the time to create a download that's a little bit more interactive, that has some worksheets or has some questions that makes them really think about how they're going to integrate that, or gives them links for them to then join your Facebook group so that you now begin to build a tribe and a community, or links for them to follow you on Instagram or follow you on Twitter or on YouTube channel. Do you see what I'm saying? So it basically gets them more engaged in interacting with you in multiple ways. That would be really wonderful. If you are sending them to a Facebook group, this works really, really beautiful, especially if you are running a challenge or a summit, so that you can then begin to create a conversation and begin to interact with them and get to know them just like they will get to know you. Okay, so again, the 4 points of the download, the acronym is PETTY, and P is for solving a problem, E, easily consumable, T, tangible or actionable content, and 4, making it interactive. Okay, so we're going to move on to the 3rd, and this is the thank you page, and this is probably where there's going to be the biggest difference in the thank you page. So before I go on, I'm going to tell you a huge mistake that I made at the very beginning of my business. And I feel like in some ways I'm still trying to fix those things, but I feel a little bit less motivated to fix things for myself as I am to fix other people's businesses. I don't know why that is. You might relate to that. I feel more excited about helping other people make something in their business really cool than I am motivated to make it happen in mine. Anyhow, but the thank you page, for many years, I created opt-ins that actually went to nowhere. And what I meant by that is that it's not that there wasn't a funnel, but they really weren't doing anything except for providing a resource, landing people in my CRM, and then I wasn't even sending emails. I didn't have a nurture sequence of emails. And so, of course, I thought, well, they're just going to be there whenever I want to start communicating with them. And that's not actually true. So your leads are going to be most interested and engaged to want to hear from you immediately after they opt in for something. And so when you create an opt-in, and this is probably something that would be number 4 that I did not create for this training, is make sure that you create a nurture sequence that is very much aligned with the particular opt-in that they downloaded, so that you can create an interaction with them. Because that is probably the biggest issue that I hear from other coaches and many of my clients is like, how do I get people from my list into actually becoming paid clients or paid, purchase my products. Anyhow, so the thank you page, what you will need to put on your thank you page is actually going to depend on your stage of the business. And so if you are unsure about what stage of business you're at, you might want to download this guide that I created on stages of business development that articulates each one of the stages of businesses that you will go through, so that you can kind of identify where you're at and figure out what will be the best strategy for you. So if you want to download that guide, it's you can get it at tinyurl.com/business-stages number 2. tinyurl.com/business-stages number 2. And it actually is going to help you see the 6 different stages of business, and you will identify where you're at. It will give you some of the key tasks and the key challenges that you will face at each one of those stages of business. And it's going to start giving you a sense about what are the key things that you need to be working on to grow that business. Because if you've ever tried a particular strategy that didn't work for you and worked for somebody else, it's probably because it was not the right strategy to use for your stage of business. Okay, so if you are sort of at the beginning stage of your business, though this will work at any stage of your business, and many people are just doing this, and this will work for any stage, but especially if you're at the beginning stage of your business and you are beginning to collect opt-ins, then your thank you page, what you would like to have is you would like to have a video that thanks them for opting in, tells them why consuming that resource will be so important, and then why talking to you in person will actually maximize the transformation that they will get from this particular download, and then have a link or an application to schedule an initial consultation with you. So I call this first thing the initial consultation. So what you want is for them to do this, opt-in. The opt-in could be a quiz even. And then you want that thank you page video to be thanks them for opting in, tells them that their resource that they opted in is coming into their mailbox. So this is something that I have debated, and I would love to hear your opinion. So there are basically 2 camps. There's people that say just give them the resource right then for them to download that very moment. And then there's other people that say, no, tell them that it's coming in their inbox so they can go into their mail and look for it. Partly because most email delivery programs are going to need people to confirm their subscription for their opt-in. And in doing so, it forces somebody to go into their junk mail, confirm the subscription, and then be able to go into the email and get the guide. Now, it's likely that you could lose a lot of people that way. And it's also a really good way to ensure that the people that you have in your list are a little bit more engaged. And so it sort of depends on what it is that you're going for, whether you're just going for volume and numbers, or you're actually going for people. So there's 2 camps, people that say, you're giving them too many steps and then they're going to drop off and there's no way. And then people are like, well, that's pretty normal. In Canada, I think it's illegal to have just a single opt-in. And so people need to opt in twice and confirm their subscriptions before they're able to receive any free downloads. And so, you can kind of tune in to what feels more ethical, what feels more aligned with you and the way that you want to conduct business. And you might even try it both ways and see what you like best. But at any stage, at this beginning stage, what you want to do is create a video that invites them to join you for a free consultation. And then have a link for an application or to schedule the initial consultation right then and there. Now, 2, if you are in the intermediate stage of business, then the thank you page can actually have a short video or a text that, again, thanks them for opting in, tells them that their downloads on the way to the mailbox, and then invites them to deepen their knowledge with some kind of live training. So it could be a webinar or workshop or a live event, so that they can learn more about what you have to offer, and then gives them an opportunity to either sign up for one of your programs or sign up for a free consultation or a low-fee consultation. So again, you can do the first option, but usually if you have at this point created a webinar or some other kind of live training, then that's really great transition. And the third option, this is usually best if you're kind of in the growth stage and beyond. You can try it also if you're beginning, but I tend to discourage people that are in the beginning stages to do this because it usually decreases the engagement and the follow-through of people. And so the third is what I call the program. So the first is the initial consultation, second one is the webinar, and the third is what I call the program. And so again, the thank you page, thanks them for having opted in, and then it provides them, it sends them to either a low-end offer for a related product or for a similar type product that deepens the knowledge and the interaction of what they just downloaded. And it could be sort of anywhere between $7 product to potentially a $497 product. And that's kind of the price range that usually will work best here. Just know that the chances of people actually going from just an initial opt-in cold traffic into purchasing a product is probably going to be much, much lower, which is why I say that this is best for you if you are in the growth stage and beyond, because otherwise people usually won't. They won't pull out their wallets and opt in for the next thing. And so you really want to engage them. You want to increase the chances that you are going to get a chance to talk to them. The more that you get to talk to them, the more that they get to know you, the more chances that you have to build that know, like, and trust factor, and the greater your chances are of actually enrolling them when you are having an enrollment conversation with them later on down the road. So I hope that you found this helpful. I would love to hear your questions and comments. You can send them to me at elena@intuitivebusinessmastery.com. And you can check out my website at intuitivebusinessmastery.com. And until then, defy the ordinary, become extraordinary. I'd love to hear from you and what you gained the most from this journey. I'll see you soon.